All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the second episode ever of our joint Run It Back, where we always review movies. Eventually, it will be TV series. And today, we want to go back and hit up the 1994 basketball film, Above the Rim. As always, I am your boy, Prime Source. What's good, brother?
Hey, Prime. Notice anything different about me, man?
Oh, you look clean up here. I see that you look clean.
Bruh, I feel like a newborn baby, but
It happens, man. It happens.
3 months of looking crazy. And then I looked at myself in the mirror when I got home after I went to the barbershop, after I braved the barbershop. And I was like, yo, I look crazy. But anyway, at least I'm clean, so.
You look sharp, brother. It looks good on you.
Appreciate
No doubt. I'm back up. I'm due for round 2 or 3. I don't know, but that'll happen in a few days. Yeah, man. So we're gonna talk Above the Rim, man. The classic, well, some people consider it a classic, basketball, hood film, whatever you want to call it, back in the day in 1994.
Right.
But this time, man, we're gonna bring on a special guest we got with us, man. One of our fine folks of the Sports Bar Podcast, one of our favorite people in the Sports Bar Podcast. And he is going to talk shop with us about this movie. This ought to be very, very interesting. So we're going to bring on who we got, Source?
We got Mr. Daryl Love. What's up, bro?
What's going on, gentlemen? How you doing?
Daryl, what's good, man?
Not much. Another day.
All right, man. Welcome to Run It Back, our second ever episode, but you are our first actual guest on any of them, so that's a good thing.
Absolutely. I'm honored.
We appreciate you, man. Yes, we're gonna talk Above the Rim, man. Film came out back in 1994. Several people that you recognize from television in that movie. First of all, Tupac. We know him from music and TV. You had Duane Martin, Leon. We got to see Bernie Mac. May he rest in peace, and tons of people.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man. So it's a movie. And I understand. We're gonna start with you because I understand. Are you just now seeing this movie?
I am. It's the first time. I watched it about 2 weeks ago. First time I've seen it.
2 weeks ago?
Yeah, about 2 weeks ago.
Came out in 94. And this is what? 2020?
Yeah.
What took so long, man?
It's probably one of those movies that me and Mike were talking about, the classics that you should have seen. Me growing up, I didn't really have access to all the classic movies. I grew up my mom was a pastor, as I believe you guys both know, so I didn't have access to all that. So I just never watched it. There's a bunch of movies I haven't seen. So when he told me to check it out, I was like, oh, I'll give it a shot. So that's the reason why I haven't seen it.
Well, not to tell my age, but most people know, but I'm an old man. So luckily I was out of the crib when this movie came out, so I got to see it. But if I had been a little bit younger, it probably would have been a minute before I could see it too, based on the background of my folks. But, it's all good.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so what was your overall thoughts on the film, just overall?
Uh-oh.
Here we go, all right.
Let's give it to us, man.
Yeah, no, I actually thought it was pretty decent. Having seen it for the first time in 2020 in a movie that came out in 94, I automatically kind of, not want to say set my expectations lower, but just seeing movies that I've seen currently, like production-wise and video, I didn't expect too much of it, because if you think about movies that I did see back then, it matched up to like the quality of the video and things like that. The storyline overall, I thought was pretty decent. The not that it was like predictable or expected, but it was a good movie that I kind of could be like, follow along easily and be like, okay, this is probably going to happen next. When it comes to movies, I don't necessarily like the predictability of movies. I like kind of being shocked or something at the end. I didn't get that with this movie, but it was still a good overall movie in the end. Good underlying thought processes or values and things like that I thought were pretty good.
Source, man, what were your thoughts on the movie, brother?
I ain't know where Daryl was going with that joke, man. Those gonna be straight insults from the jump. Of course, back in the day, being that it wasn't a lot of movies of this genre for real. Overall, it could have been terrible, and it still would have been great. It could have been trash, and it still would have been great.
Mm-hmm.
Watching it again more recently, and kind of experiencing it over again, it's still a good movie to me. The people that are in it, the acting is good, generally speaking. There are some moments when you're like, okay. So when Duane Martin throws the chair when he's mad, he gonna attack Leon. That was horrible. But generally speaking, I thought the acting was good. Tupac was great. Tupac is usually great, has been usually great in movies. A lot of the time he's playing characters that kind of, well, like most people, they play characters that are kind of built out of who they are in some form. So I felt like he was comfortable in that role, and he had seen that, either he lived it or had seen it before. So I enjoyed it. I loved it growing up, or when I saw it when I was younger, and it's still a good movie to me at this point.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good. I think the first time that I saw, I can remember where I saw it. I think it was a movie theater. It used to be right off of Forest Hill or Westover.
Westover.
Yeah, snuck a few wine coolers in there, and we peeped it. Me and my homie, shout out to John, we call him the Gooch. We snuck a few wine coolers in there, and we went to see it. And I liked the movie, man. And it came at a really good time if you think about it basketball-wise, because this is really when we were culturally really getting into basketball films that kind of resonated, with the streets a little bit. If you think about it, we got White Men Can't Jump was 1993. And then right after that, we ended up getting Blue Chips. We got Blue Chips, which came out about a month before Above the Rim. And then months later after Above the Rim, we ended up getting Hoop Dreams. So this was a really big time for basketball and basketball culture as far as it hitting the big screen. So that was really big for me. That's back in the day when I still could jump a little bit. I can't do nothing now but shoot the jumper. Don't ask me to do nothing else. I still got the jumper.
Could you hoop, Brian? Could you hoop?
There's some people around the way that I know that will tell you, regardless of anything else, I had one of the wettest J's in Chester, son. Believe that. But,
okay. All right.
I might not do anything else. You know what I'm saying? But I can shoot the J. But I really liked the movie, man. I thought it was good overall, man. And matter of fact, I remember seeing it twice in 1 week. After I saw it the first time, I went back 3 or 4 days later and watched it again. So I thought it was really good. And it completed what they in Hollywood call the Harlem trilogy, I guess. Because if you're thinking about the Harlem state of mind back then, you had what came out before then. It was New Jack City. New Jack City came out. Then they came out with Sugar Hill, and then this was and then this hit. So they call it the Harlem trilogy. So I thought the movie was decent overall. What was some standout performances? I think Daryl. I guess would you agree with Mike said about Tupac's performance? Because I thought the performance was like off the chain for him.
So I hadn't seen, very many movies of him acting. Really all I have to go off like is his music. And like you said, it fits him. It was like he was supposed to play that role. Or, there are some times where, of course, there's like some cheesy one-liners or, some things that he said that you're just like, oh, okay, that was typical. But I felt like it fit him, like who he was. There was like a little bit of arrogance about the character that he had that was it was fitting for him. So as far as the other characters, I thought they were played really well. I like Bernie Mac's character.
Yeah.
It was it's like the subtle comedy with the serious role. So I think he kind of played that role extremely well. Overall, I thought the acting specifically, I'd probably say Tupac's was probably the best. But that's kind of to be expected.
Yeah, he was really good, and it's amazing that they were able to even make this movie.
Yeah.
Because back then, man, what was crazy was he was in a bunch of trouble. like a bunch of trouble before this movie even started. I think this movie was made in March. Now, he had already been arrested probably within the last 6 months, like 3 times before this movie had even come out. He had the, was it 1993? He had assaulted one of the Hughes brothers on the set of Menace to Society, which got him kicked off of that.
Both
huh?
Both of them.
Both of them? I know it was at least one of them. But he assaulted both of them. He had the assault on, I think, the limo driver. He was battling, unfortunately, a sexual assault case.
Mm.
Then he had the joint that came later, whereas he was accused of shooting at 2 off-duty police officers.
Yeah.
So, like, all of this is going on. Well, at least three of those 4 events were going on just before, or right around about the time this movie was shot. So for him to even be in this movie was one thing. And then for him to give the performance that he gave, I mean, it might have been just being himself a little bit, which probably made it kind of easy. But it was amazing that he even was able to be in this movie and get off the performance that he got off, man. It was crazy.
Also, one of the other performances I liked was Shep's performance. I thought that he, like, throughout the whole movie, I just thought, like, you know, the next scene he's going to, you know, lace him up or something, you know.
They say you ball.
Nope.
Yeah, like he has to, because, you know, he's in the park, you know, air dribbling, shooting and all that, and I'm like, you know, he's gonna have a flashback like the very next scene. It was kind of good to see it waited to the end until they were in the tournament, but I liked his performance as well.
I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I think the performance, he was okay, but I think for me personally, that was probably Leon's least impressive performance to me in any of his movies.
Yeah. Because he gets to be outlandish. And, well, I mean, he was more reserved in this joint. He gets to be outlandish in most joints.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was real laid back.
I thought it was okay. I don't think some of the parts that I may have had a problem with as far as his acting wasn't really so much his acting. It's just the way, I guess, the positions they put him in this movie. But, I mean, he was okay. To me, he was okay.
You're a Tupac fan, aren't you?
Are we good?
No, Pac.
Yeah.
I'm not Pac's biggest fan.
Okay.
But all of his early stuff, I mean, like all of his early stuff, I do own. You know, I do own. You know, so I like it. You know, I'm not gonna break my neck to play him every time I get in the car, but I like him. But it's people that are rap harder for Pac than I will.
Okay.
I've never owned a Tupac album, but
shame on you.
He has
shame
some
on you.
songs, so
we're gonna work on
that. Okay.
We're gonna work on that.
So here's my one, which is not important, but it started the movie, and I still look at it like, bruh, y'all couldn't have done anything different. Did Nutso really have to break the backboard and fall off the roof?
Oh, all right.
Off the roof? Hold on, bro. And even if you're jumping to touch the backboard, you're not jumping forward. You're not jumping.
You jump up
like Jordan. You're going straight up. This man jumped, smacked the backboard, broke it, and flew off the roof. Where was the basket was on the edge? Like, I don't understand that part.
My only question. Yeah, but why would you put a basketball hoop on the roof? Like, say if you just happen to shoot an air ball or something, now the ball's over. Like, the ball's gone. Like, I didn't understand that one.
And it's gonna kill somebody when that joint hit down.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one of the things about the movie where I was like, you know, I'll just accept it for what it is. But like thinking
even
about
then,
it now, yeah, you're like, man, he fell off the roof. I'm thinking about, like, because I play basketball, like if I shoot the ball and, you know, even if it goes in and it bounces on the ground, it could go off the roof. Now I got to go downstairs, get the ball. Like, I didn't.
Yeah, wait for the elevator.
Wait for everything. I just understand that.
Hey, so I just thought about something, man. Matter of fact, my cousin in the group, Jay Hundley, asking about my jumper. Just do me asking.
It's gonna be the first question on this post when we share this this episode. Trust me.
But I'm speaking of parts in the movie. So I think that was a good one and very obvious, that whole, you know, Nutso going through the joint. But what I want to know, man, maybe you guys can help me understand this. Because I've seen this movie probably 10, 12 times in my life, and I still don't get it. Why in the world they kill Flip, man?
Damn shame what happened to Flip.
Yeah, it didn't have. There was no point to it. Like he just went there. Like he wasn't bothering anyone. I don't understand. Like he wasn't a threat to like their tournament. I didn't understand that. Like for what?
He
That one threw
disrespected
me.
Pop. He disrespected Birdie.
Okay.
Eh?
The
So
homeless man had to die.
I'm just telling you my thought process on the reason.
I mean, it'd have made more sense. Let's say if Pac goes out and he murders somebody that people would really with some more prominence and people would know about it. And he's letting people know, yeah, don't mess with me. But he killed I mean,
Homeless
the
guy.
homeless guy, man. I mean, come on, like that's
Homeless
on
guy.
Boots' street cred.
Homeless guy was his brother's teammate also back in the day.
What?
And
you're getting deep now, huh?
he don't have any bond with his brother. He don't mess with his brother. His brother left him. Flip is probably the closest person to his brother for real, that's around. And he disrespected him in front of what's Duane Martin's character's name? I forgot.
Oh, Kyle.
Kyle, in front of Kyle. That's all I got. I mean, you can always find a reason to do something crazy if you're sensitive enough.
What did y'all think about Wood Harris's performance? Because that was the first time he had actually done a movie. That was the first time he had actually done the movie. What y'all think about his performance?
I'm not saying like it wasn't like memorable. It was kind of just like, I don't want to say you can tell. I didn't know it was the first time he did a movie, but now that you say it, it's like, okay, it was the first time he did a movie, so I don't really fault him. It's not like it wasn't overly memorable for me. It kind of was just like, okay, he's a part of the storyline, not like a huge factor in it, but he was just there.
I
You think, Mike?
thought he was good I thought he was what he was. Like, I thought he played that role well. You got to be a soldier.
You know what I'm saying?
Running around like I have seen this before. Dude running around looking for his bag, going to get his bag.
What's crazy about this, Mike, though? If you think about this movie, which we wouldn't see him play this role till years later. So in this movie, he's basically Pac or Birdie's right-hand man, right? Or his chief soldier, whatever you call him in the streets. But he goes on in The Wire to become a drug lord or head of a drug organization. And he, running things. But if you go back to Above the Rim, he was almost like, he really wasn't Stringer Bell, because Stringer Bell was smart. He's more like Weebay. You know what I'm saying? He was more like Weebay. He was a soldier in this joint. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
he was overly. Part of it, he was like overly aggressive. Like I can understand being like the soldier, being the the hitman type dude. He was just aggressive with it. I'm like, we got it. Calm down. It was a little much for me. That's why I said he was there. Like he did what he was supposed to do, but calm down, man.
Hey, that's a smart brother though. Like we always see him playing these serious and these street level characters. But did you guys know that he had got accepted into Yale?
Oh yeah.
Oh
Yeah. He was he got accepted into Yale. He used to rap actually, and I'd seen various videos of people talking about him. He was trying to break into the rap game, and he's from Chicago, and he and his group opened up for like a bunch of people, man. Ice Cube, LL, NWA. The list, Busta Rhymes, I believe. The list goes on. And he never quite got over the hump, but he was trying to make it. Somebody knew he had taken acting classes, so I thought it'd be perfect for a role or two, and he got discovered. But he actually got accepted into a couple of prominent schools, one of them being Yale.
I should have looked it up, though. Did he start before his brother started acting?
I don't know.
Oh, yeah, his brother is Steve Harris. What's a character that Daryl might recognize?
So we got
has your wife?
He's been on a couple of cop shows. I can't think of his name.
Tyler Perry type stuff.
He's been on a couple of cop shows too.
Oh yeah, no, okay. I that's the
Ball.
he was the wife beater in
Yes.
Yeah.
Mad Black. Okay, I got you. Yeah. That's his brother. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, a lot of people. It was years before I knew that, but yeah, he's been on a couple of police shows too. He was a police captain, I believe, in one show. I can't think of what the name of it was. So something in this movie, me watching it again recently, you always go back and look at these old movies and see what aged well and what didn't. The one thing, and of course I would be the one to see this, that didn't age well. Well, first of all, it was the coach. The coach, after a basketball game, is sitting in his office on school property drinking beer. That ain't gonna work. Like, that ain't gonna happen in this day and age. Like, he be going. I don't care if he was in New York, he was in Chesterfield, Virginia. But what didn't age well, did y'all notice what he was drinking?
No.
He was drinking Lowenbrow. Man, you can't find a Lowenbrow anywhere no more. I seen somebody trying to sell a pack of Lowenbrow one time. Was like, I don't know if it was on some website, and for a daggone 12-pack, man, they wanted like $60 for it. You can't find it, bro.
Yeah, I have to help me out. Was it like a beer? Like, was it the beer to have or something?
No, I would never say it's a beer to have, but it was pretty popular. Like, matter of fact, in some of the beer posts we've thrown up over time, and people would talk about beer, there are a lot of group members in the Sports Bar podcast that would list Lowenbrow. Shout out to, matter of fact, Dante Parker. I remember he brought it up one day, and I might have been Mom and Dad and somebody else. Lowenbrow was a good beer, man. You just can't find it anymore.
It had the sweet song though. Tonight, let it be Lowenbrow.
Yeah.
That was a good.
So that part didn't age well. Either one of you guys notice anything that didn't age too well in the movie, maybe? Right off hand. That's the only thing that really hits me is that. Other than I think I've seen a few people wearing starter jackets in there, but I had a few of those myself.
Yeah.
So
it's a lot of that, but I mean, it was the 90s, you know. It was the 90s.
Yeah, that was. I had one of those. Yeah.
If they put some skinny jeans on, then we would have had a problem. So.
Yeah, that wasn't happening. No, I didn't know. I can't think of anything, like that. It didn't age well.
Old girl hairstyle. Old girl.
Oh yeah. Like the Pops girl.
Yeah.
Pops girl.
Yeah.
She's tough though.
Hey, so one thing, and I guess I get real picky now. We talk about this all the time, right? And this wasn't too bad in this movie, but there was a couple of instances where they always get these adults to play these high school characters, right? And they try their best to make them look younger. But some of the stuff was funny. Like, you go back to the beginning, we were talking about Shep and Nutso playing basketball on the roof, them afros. Man, that was hilarious, man. Neither one of them looked like they were anywhere near high school age. And I'm sitting there laughing.
I'm glad you brought that back up because I forgot to ask y'all this. So we talked about the whole roof thing. When I watched it the last time, a couple weeks ago, I was like, did this really happen? Or was this like, were they high or something else happened and this is how he remembers it or something? I was like, but it probably wasn't that deep. They probably mentioned it in the movie. They probably say fell off the roof in the movie, I guess. But I was just thinking like, maybe it was supposed to be a little deeper or maybe I'm overthinking.
I don't know. Like I think about when I'm watching movies and trying to find like a reason behind it. And I think on this one, we might be thinking too deep. I think it was just like a basic storyline. Oh yeah, he fell off the roof. We'll just go with it. I don't know if it was anything more than that.
They probably said, we fell off the roof. We're going to get back. We're going to change that when we come back to it. And it was like, I'll just go with it.
They didn't realize they ran out of budget, the money in the budget, just had to leave it the way it was.
Yeah. What did you guys think about Marlon Wayne's character?
Boogaloo.
But yeah.
He overacted to me, man.
Oh, okay, thank you. Yeah.
He's a terrible actor anyway. Just generally speaking, Marlon Wayans is a terrible actor. I find it to be funny when he like as himself when he's talking to somebody, or he's just being himself. When he's characters, he's always like
doing the most.
Just to get it.
Yeah, he was a little extra for me. He was probably my least favorite. It was like the annoying like gnat at a barbecue. Like,
Yeah.
go away. Why are you here?
But that's how they treated him too. That's how Birdie treated him. Only
Yeah.
person that didn't treat him like that was Kyle, for real.
But I don't get it. Like he showed no basketball promise. Like what made him think he was supposed to be there?
Come on, bro. You know people that think they can hoop for real and they terrible.
Yeah.
No, not that bad.
Yo, you see that? Come on.
Because he was crew though. That's what he thought. He was part of the crew. He gonna get the ball. That's what that was.
No, like that's like the like the NBA bench players. They don't see time. They know, but that's even a bad comparison because NBA players are like elite 1%. They can hoop. They just don't hoop because there's people who are generally better. He was none of that.
Yeah. Very true.
But he just thought he was getting in because he was crew. He was tight with Cal. He the one that brought Cal to Birdie, and then he was part of. I guess he was part of Birdie's crew. I mean, he was comedy relief, I guess. But so he thought between those two that he was going to be able to get in there and play ball. I guess I don't know.
You should have been a manager. Just get the jerseys.
Yeah.
Shoot, man. Wood Harris, he wanted him to do that. Man. You know what I'm saying?
No.
Hey, so some interesting facts on this movie, though. So, you guys realize that initially they wanted Alan Payne to play Cal.
I can see that.
He was hot then, because remember he was just fresh off. What did he have? Jason's Lyric that same year. Yeah.
I can see that. Oh, and New Jack City. You mentioned New Jack City, right?
New Jack City.
So
New Jack City.
That makes sense. That makes more sense than Duane Martin. But in reality, Duane Martin played basketball.
Yeah.
So maybe that was the difference.
So when you say he like legit played basketball, like at what level?
Division III, I think it was.
Yeah.
He made like all city basketball, and then he went on to a Division III school.
Okay.
They say he was. I mean, they say he could ball. He was pretty good. I guess the underlying theme in this movie is they were looking for basketball people because Leon played basketball. I mean, he went to Loyola? Was it Marymount? Loyola? How do you say it? Marymount? Played basketball and was really good. Decided to pursue acting more than continue to play basketball. But he went there on scholarship. And I remember reading a couple of years ago that they actually had real live like basketball games like on set where they would go out and play. And they said various stars, even folks who weren't even in the movie, would come by and they would actually hoop it up, in between breaks and days that they weren't filming and shooting. So they wanted cats that could really play basketball, which was evident too because when you get to the blacktop scene when they're in that basketball tournament, a lot of them guys could really hoop. Like I haven't figured out who number 41 was on that red squad.
Short guy.
Kyle up, bro.
Yeah.
He was keeping Kyle up early.
Now
on those 9-foot rims.
And there was no defense being played. Let's be clear. There was no defense.
No. But he had handles though.
Oh yeah, no, he looked like he could ball for real. He looked like he could ball for real.
How come they had 9-foot rims? Everybody was dunking. Everybody. Not everybody can jump like that.
Since we talking basketball action, I gotta point out, Daryl, you might not have noticed this if you only watched it the one time.
Mm-hmm.
Number 52 passed it to number 52 on one play, and he dunked. He got the rebound, brought it down, passed it, caught it, dunked it.
Go back. He passed to himself.
Passed it to himself.
Production flaws.
They
ran out of money, man. They couldn't go back and fix it, man.
Man, I normally always catch those, but when I watch it again, now I'm gonna be looking for it. I always see like the production flaws. Someone's cups on the right-hand side of the movie. Now it's on the left-hand side. But yeah, I'm gonna check. I didn't notice that the first time. I'm gonna check it out next time I watch it.
Yes, sir.
Next interesting thing was, do you guys know who was originally supposed to play Shep?
Nah, who?
Denzel.
Again, it makes sense.
Yeah.
He played basketball in college.
Mm-hmm.
As far as that part of it.
Yeah. They wanted Denzel to play the role, and I never read where they say why he didn't take it. He ended up turning it down, and Leon ended up getting the role. But Yeah, it was supposed to be Denzel Washington first, is who they wanted. And
in in '94, how big was Denzel? Was he like Denzel at this point, or he was kind of still?
he was out there. He had some
He was
movies in the
leading up to
'90s.
it. He was leading up to
Okay.
it.
Yeah.
But I mean, that was before Jesus Shuttlesworth.
Yep, he got game.
He got game,
Okay.
yeah.
All right, so
But that role, the role in He Got Game was more prominent as far as the character than the Above the Rim role. Because you had to be kind of subdued in the Above the Rim role. Then they was probably like, nah, bro, I got to have my moments where I can just get out here and do what I want.
Yeah.
all right, so likes and dislikes. So I'm gonna start off my likes in the movie, right? That's a lot to like in it. I guess the one thing that sticks out to me though was the emphasis on, I don't even know how I say it, but I would say, I guess, the black. And what I mean is, you notice all they talk about in this basketball-wise and recruiting is Georgetown, right? All they talk about is he wanted to get the scholarship to Georgetown. They had Phil, the guy's name was Phil Red in the movie, who is the legendary Pee Wee Kirkland in real life, playing that part. Coming to watch him and, recruiting him, and we see him. We also see him at the end of the movie. If you really look, when Kyle hits the jumper, when he finally makes it to Georgetown, not the first time when you see him hitting the shot and then they show John Thompson. A little bit later, there's a quick clip of him on the sideline. And that was really, relevant back in those times, because us as blacks, when we looked at college basketball, if you talk about teams that were at the top, and this was even before, we ended up getting the 5-5. I mean, we ended up getting the 5-5. But when people view Georgetown, we think about blacks. Yep. They were black players.
All black.
All black players.
The blackest team.
You talk about the street aspect of this. You talk about the street aspect. You think about the Hoyas back then. You had guys that came from the mean streets of Baltimore, like Reggie Williams and David Wingate. You see what I'm saying? So just that focus on the inner city and the blacks is probably one of my biggest likes of this movie.
Oh, yeah. Them two, Perry McDonald,
yeah,
Mark Tillman, Michael Jackson, their whole squad. I mean, they were all black and hood dudes. It was mostly so. I'm glad. That's probably a subtle thing that we don't even pay attention to, but that's a good point, though.
Yeah, I have to agree. I think that even just seeing it now, like, I appreciated, like, I hate to say it, like, the us factor in it. There wasn't like any like overshadowing, the one person that, like, oh, you guys can have your thing, but we're still going to be over top. Like, everybody wanted to, like, it was black, like, across the board. So I appreciated that. Even seeing it now, it obviously was a focus back then to make sure, like, that was an underlying factor in it. So I have to agree. I appreciated that as well.
Yeah, and Benny Medina, who was really, really big in the Hollywood game. We know him from Fresh Prince. I do remember there was an episode or two where they actually mentioned Georgetown on the Fresh Prince and I can't remember why, but seemed to be a real big emphasis. Mike, you good? What you got?
Oh, yeah, I'm good. We got like 5.
All right. So, and dislikes. The only dislike for me that I can say I really dislike, why in the world they name a black man Motar? Like, Wood Harris's name was Motar. So was that his first name, last name, the Motar? Yeah.
What's his name?
Motar.
Motar.
Yeah, I thought it was like Motar. If you remember, he calls him, like, was it in the basketball scene? It was like, no, he said, handle your business. One of them's like, oh, no, remember when Cal brought the bag in and like, I'm not running with you no more? He's like, Motar, you start. His name was Motar.
Word, I missed that.
Man, you gotta do better than that, bro. I don't know what that means. not in the hood, bro. Not in the hood. But that's all I can come up with for dislike.
I'll tell you my dislike. Oh, the in-game action. The people that could play. Well, first of all, I'm big on in-game action in sports movies. If you're gonna have a sports movie, I know it's not the like. I don't even want to mention the movie. But the joint with Common and Latifah, worst basketball action of an actual basketball movie, or a movie that is big on basketball. why is Common hanging on the rim with his head up here and he's playing point guard and he ain't even 6 feet? What? I don't even understand. It was all stupid.
Everybody dunking.
Yeah, you gotta have a dunk. That's the only way people go watch is if you're dunking. So I hate trash in-game action. The in-game action of the player like with the ball was dope. Everybody was standing around looking or taking defense. That was trash. I hated it. But that's the way I am. Plus, speaking of like you could say it was an old movie and they didn't really care back then, but Blue Chips had real action. Blue Chips all the way across the board as far as action. So that's the only thing I really hated about the movie.
Anything you like about it, Daryl?
Yeah, well, I think the one thing that stood out to me was the relationship between Shep and Kyle's mom.
Mm-hmm.
I was
kind
like,
of quick, bro. It's kind of quick, man.
Man. It was like instant. She saw him in the restaurant and was like, "Hey," and then the next scene it was like, "Hey," knocking at the door. That was just kind of like, hey, I could have dealt without that. It was like the predictability, like, okay, we know where this is gonna go.
He kissed it kind of quick in the movie. I think they only went out a couple of times, but you know.
Yeah. Then it added to his like the son Kyle's like, I guess hatred for him or whatever it was. It just I get why they did it. It was just you could have probably not have done that. I didn't particularly care for that part of the movie.
All right, we against the clock. How much time we got, Mike?
2 minutes and 2 seconds.
All right, real quick. 1 to 5. Beer rating. We're rating this movie. I'm going to give it 3 out of 5 beers. For me, I thought it was a good movie. Definitely has the flaws in it. Some things that 1 or 2 things that I didn't like in the movie, and I thought it was, like I said, Leon's. He wasn't bad in the movie, but it was probably his worst performance, I guess, for me personally. So I'm gonna give it 3 out of 5.
I'm gonna go with 3 as well. It was that was the number that came in my head. Even seeing it later on in life, if I'd have saw it back then, I probably would have had the same thought process. So I'll give it a 3 out of 5. Could have been better. Could have been worse.
Maybe I liked it more than y'all. I give it a 3.5. I can't go 4 because it got to be really like for me to go 4. But 3 just feels like it was average. I feel like it was better than average, especially at the time. But I can't say it was just like, oh, it was my joint. Although it was my joint, but I can't put it on the level of some other movies that might be in the same, considered the same caliber. So 3.5 is where I'm going.
So we pretty much are close to the same page. It also gave us some consider the greatest, one of the best soundtracks ever. Big Pimpin', which a lot of us just love that song. Dog Pound for Life for me is criminally underrated. In the end with Warren G. Regulate. So there's what it is. Thank y'all for watching Run It Back. Daryl, thank you for joining us, my brother.
Thank you for having me.
Big Pimpin'.
Yes, sir.
No doubt. Until the next time, we out.
Sure. Word.
I think that was cool, man.